And welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Providence here in Rhode Island. My name is Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Jacob Van Lunen. We're getting down the stretch here, Jake. This is the second round of the second draft of the day. There's one more draft to come before we cut the top four, and we are already underway. We're going to get our graphics up on the screen for you once we have that available to see who it is exactly that we're playing against here. Who's playing?
Yeah, I think if I had to guess right now, it would be Juza playing against
No, that's not
Cowley?
Juza.
Oh, we're not covering that team anymore?
That could be Hoen on the right-hand side.
Oh, I guess so, yeah. That might make more sense.
And there's a Gyre Sage, but we know that Hoen was not in these colors, so that's definitely not him. So we'll figure it out as we go. But we do see player left attacking in there with the Keening Apparition into the 1-2 Gyre Sage. And this is a big turn here for the player on the right as he's hit all of his colors, and there's going to be an Evolve trigger. Wow, and it's a big one, too, from a Crown Ceratok.
That Crown Ceratok's going to do a lot of work here. It bashes through that Basilica Guards.
This is Andrew Cuneo versus Eugene Harvey. Okay, okay, that is who it is. Rashad says yes.
This can't be Andrew Cuneo versus Eugene Harvey.
Yeah, they're on the same team.
They're on the same team.
Eugene Whang. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Eugene Whang on the right-hand side. Andrew Cuneo on the left, I would assume. Armored Wolf Rider there for Cuneo is going to help bolster his defensive position against that big Crown Ceratok. I guess they're both at 18 life. And apparently, is that Ceratok attacking?
It looks like it's attacking.
Access to green and red mana for Eugene means that there's all types of combat tricks available here. Ceruli Gatekeepers is a follow-up play, which is going to get yet another Evolve trigger and push that Gyre Sage up to a 3-4 now. It also can tap to make 2 green mana.
It's a nice Soul Ring effect he has going here.
Absolutely. And incidentally, it has Trample. Doesn't matter currently, as there's a 4-6 and a 1-4 on the board, but it could matter later. Remember, the rules with Trample are such that if it were to become blocked and the creature were to become removed, the damage would all carry over to the player. That can be something that can factor into a later game part of this game.
Yeah, especially when he has double black on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you make your attacks and then decide where it's correct to put your removal spells, which is always nice.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Cuneo is going to play a land, and it looks like he's just passed the turn here.
All right, so yet another land here for Whang. And he definitely has spells in hand. It's time to decide whether or not he's going to put on the brakes. I mean, that's lots of green and white mana open, and normally those aren't the colors that you're necessarily worried about tricks. But in this set, you have to worry about things like Eyes in the Skies, Rootborn Defenses, Advent of the Worm.
Yep.
And the good news is that passing into most of those cards will prompt the player to cast them.
It looks like Eugene, though, has just passed a turn back. Decided against attacking into this board. And it looks like it's just a draw and a go again.
So there's
so we've got a bit of a standoff here.
A launch party now.
There's just another attack here, though. Excuse me, just another pass of the turn. So kind of a weird mid-range draw go here, but there's black mana for Andrew Cuneo.
Yeah, and that may give Whang the green light to tell him, okay, he was just cut off with black mana. He wasn't actually waiting to cast something.
Yes.
So maybe he'll try to charge in with something.
All right, there's a Sluiceway Scorpion, which is going to be able to attack next turn. and at least keep some level of pressure going on Andrew Cuneo, who is sitting here right now with a bunch of lands, and a bunch of different colors, and here's 3 of them coming down. Let's see what he's got. Is it a Kingpin's Pet? No, it's a Tithe Drinker. He's going to pay the Extort, though.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, and he's now
Tithe Drinker's a great card.
Yeah, and he's got 2 Extort creatures now on the battlefield. He's also got that Keen Apparition to blank any type of stab wound or anything along those lines.
Even a card like Gruul Warchant. Keen Apparition works really hard now.
It does.
It always has.
It always
reasonably
has.
hard.
Yeah, I agree.
1,000 lashes, you know, so many different things. Runner's Bane.
Yeah, Crisis Incubation.
It's a against a lot of different decks. It's a 2/2 bear that's also a flag bearer, because a lot of the time your spot removal is in the form of an enchantment.
That's right. All right, so here comes that Sluiceway Scorpion. And it's going to get through and do 2 damage to Andrew. So Eugene has a little bit of forward momentum here, but it's not, nothing's really moving too swiftly here on this board state, given the fact that both players have multiple cards in hand and tons of mana on the board.
It looks like Eugene has multiple pump spells in hand, including a Chorus of Might.
Okay. I saw he's got another Ceruli Gatekeepers, but he declined to add that to the board as he just doesn't see it as necessary currently. Okay, so here we've got a Vassal Soul for Andrew Cuneo, a couple of Extort triggers paid for as well. So that just erased that 1 attack.
That Vassal Soul might be what? Cuneo, ooh.
All right, here comes the launch party. So let's throw a little party here. Get that Armored Wolf Rider off the table, and he's going to sacrifice the only creature that he was able to currently attack with impunity, but it is going to allow him to throw the counters over on the Gatekeepers, potentially giving it trample as well. He can also just make his Crown Ceratok huge.
Yeah, and then he has 2 pump spells in hand, so he can just...
A 6/5 Crown Ceratok if he wants to.
And he's deciding whether or not he wants to cast a creature pre-combat to increase the value of the Chorus of Might. He does have the Sluiceway Scorpion in the graveyard. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so he chooses not to scavenge the Sluiceway Scorpion. That's going to tell Andrew that Eugene definitely has cards in hand that are going to interact with him, but it's not like he can really use that information to his advantage at this point, because he's going to be forced to make the blocks that he has to make anyway.
Right. Andrew's at a reasonable life total, 13, but he is facing down 9 power here.
Yeah, and potentially much more with Scab Clan Charger and Chorus of Might.
That's right. Now, Andrew's tapped most of his mana. He's got 3 left over, so he can't represent nearly as many things. You know, Tristani's Judgment, that kind of stuff is off the table for this attack. But Smite is still possible. All right, we see a little bit of camera movement here. I think that, I think actually Rashad's over there. He's going to fix. We have one of our matches doesn't have, the camera's not working, I think, so that's why you see a little bit of that. Just bear with us through that if you would. All right, so
he elects not to use the pump spell.
Yeah,
there.
he's just going to trade it off for the 1/4. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah,
it's a risk-free choice. I mean, he's not, you know, he knows what he's getting in that case, and he doesn't get blown out by a Smite or something. But wow, now this is really going to leave his board state fairly decimated, as we're going to see an Executioner swing hit the Gyre Sage now. Now he can save it, right? He can give it +3/+3 until end of turn.
Yes, he can.
And it didn't get blocked.
It did not.
So that would save it if he wanted to. Not the ideal use for his Chorus of Might, but maybe it's worth it here. He still wants to use that mana to make the Centaur Herald token. He says, yeah, sure. All right, so Eugene taking a pretty passive role in this game. He's just kind of letting things happen.
Yeah.
He still has the tricks in hand, though. He could be waiting for the dust to settle removal-wise before he pulls the trigger on the Chorus of Might, but I got to say, it is getting worse. You know, that Chorus of Might's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, he also just hasn't been playing creatures. He hasn't been committing as much to the board as he possibly could.
No, he has not. And right now, he decided to put his mana into the Centaur's Herald. He's going to make a token. But I did see he's got another Gatekeepers in hand that he can run out there if he just wants more bodies. He's going to still be a few turns away from making his move here, I think. And we'll see what Andrew Cuneo can do about it in the meantime.
All right, Andrew Cuneo, right now, kind of has the advantage on the board, and he's ahead in life.
Yeah.
And he has 2 extort creatures in play.
Yeah, and a flyer that can get in there for damage.
Oh, now he only has 1 extort creature, but still.
Oh, right, he lost the 1/4 in the last attack. The newly dead Basilica guards. Don't worry, there's no earthquake here in Providence. We're just making sure that the equipment is correct. All right, so there is going to be a block and then a use of the Centaur's Herald. And, you know, again, we see him taking the conservative play. You can also crack that before blocks and throw it in front of the Tithe Drinker, but it does open it up to, you know, some type of combat trick. And he decided not to. He just blocked the Tithe Drinker and then sacked it so that there was no life gain involved. But it's a conservative route.
Yeah, him not playing that Cerulean Gatekeepers has really hurt him quite a bit here.
Yeah.
He's going to need to attack with something here. But at the same time, yeah, I like scavenging the Scorpion onto the Centaur, sending that in, and then casting the Gatekeepers.
Okay.
I think that's a fine line.
Yeah, 2/2 is going to be rough to get through for a Boros Mastiff, a Keenan Apparition, and a Tithe Drinker. Sure, the Vassal Soul can get through, but doesn't leave that many great attacks. Wow, he's even got another 2/4 in hand. I think he's got a Scab Clan Charger to add to the mix as well. Yeah. It's all 2/4s all the time. All right, let's make a play here, boys. We've getting some advice from teammates here before actually making their move. All right, looks like he's going to put it on the Gatekeepers this time, though. And he's just going to attack with the Gatekeepers. So attacking for 1 less damage than he could have. Kind of an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's less defense being held back also.
Yeah, it's only 3 power now, so something like a Swift Justice becomes a lot more effective versus the Centaur token than versus the 2/4.
You turn on quite a few cards here.
Yeah, so interesting decision there from Eugene.
Burst of Strength also.
There you go. And it looks like Gargoyle there. Millennial Gargoyle, I think. So another
and
flyer.
with an extort trigger.
Yeah, with an extort trigger, and in comes the team. There's a trigger there for the Boros Mastiff, which looks like it's going to get eaten. Hey, look at this. Well, it's a Swift Justice, but it's actually lethal.
Oh, those life totals must have been a little off.
They must have been not updated from that last round of attacks, because that was enough to kill him. I thought the Swift Justice was going to take down that Centaur like we had mentioned, but it turns out 1 extra damage was enough actually just to kill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty surprised the way that game turned out. Eugene was really conservative with his pump spells.
Yeah, and it just kind of
almost to a fault, you know? Like, he could have...
he could have pumped his...
there were many turns where his opponent could have interacted with him if his opponent needed to, and his opponent didn't, and he just decided to play around virtually everything.
Yeah.
And if you play around too much, then you're not using your cards efficiently, and you're just losing. You can't be doing that.
All right, let's take a look at this board state here as we're moved over to... Not really sure where we're at. We're on A. All right, so this is Andrew Brown on the right versus Richard Hoen on the left, and we've got a fairly well-developed board here.
No. This is Eugene Harvey and Zhai Jintao. I'm absolutely 100% positive because Richard Hoen had...
I was just told it was other, so
yeah.
I believe you. Yep. Okay, so this is Zhai Chen Chao versus Eugene Harvey. And let's take a look at the board state here. It looks like there's a Rakdos Drake, an Asperius Skywatch, and a Haunter of Night Veil. And on the other, and along with, this is all in the same board state. Wow, this is very well developed board here. A Maze Glider. We see a Deluvian Primordial in the bin.
Yeah, there's been
a
lot going
Torture
on.
and a Basilica Screecher. On the other side, it's a Centaur token, a 2/2 Boros Mastiff. There's a Sluiceway Scorpion, and the Moss Dog Millionaire makes another appearance here. He's all green. He only sees green, this guy. Thrashing Moss Dog, 3/3 with Reach.
This is Cuneo Whang?
So what did we just watch?
Harvey Zhai Jintao.
Okay. So the life totals are correct on this, but not on the other board state? Okay. We were told we were watching Cuneo versus Whang in the first match that we saw, but we weren't. And the life totals we were seeing were for a different match. But thankfully, it's the one we're on now, which is actually Andrew Cuneo and Eugene Whang.
Ironically, he was extorting like in sync with the other person. It was like the screecher and the.
There was probably a higher torture activation in there somewhere. All right, so it looks like Andrew Cuneo here has really pushed forward with this game as he's got Eugene down to 2, and that's it. I think this is a scoop here. Yeah, so many creatures on Andrew Cuneo's side, and some really good ones too. That Hunter of Night Vale, that thing has flying.
Yeah.
So does the Maze Glider, and so does the Asperius Skywatch. So
yeah, Hunter of Night Vale. So for those of you watching who might be newer to this set, it doesn't have flying all the time, but Maze Glider gave it flying. It's a card that when you look at it, it looks like it might fly.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. Yeah. It's insane, but it doesn't fly.
Yes.
It would be really good.
I agree.
It's already really good.
All right, so Eugene Harvey won his first game, is that right? So he should be up a game on our standings. Are we looking at Rich Hoen now?
Yeah, this is a Richie deck, right?
So this is Rich Hoen versus Andrew Brown, and Rich again with an aggressive deck here. It looks like a Splatter Thug as a 3/3 first strike that can't block. Also a Rebel Belt Maka facing down, and just a lowly Night Token and a Azorius Key Rune. Only 2 cards in hand, it looks like, for Andrew Brown. And here comes an attack. I see that there's an aerial or maneuver in hand for Andrew Brown, so this is definitely not a bluff. We'll try to get the life totals. All right, Rich is at 6. I believe he's just going to take the 2 damage here. Is that a Maze Rusher?
It is. Huh. So.
Oh, the life totals were the other way around. So Richard Hoen went from 20 to 18 with that attack of 2, which explains why he so easily took that. Andrew Brown sitting at 6 here. And he's going to pass. He's not going to play the Maze Rusher. He wants to represent this trick. This is a very risky line that he's taking.
I mean, Richie can have any number of things to just
blow him out here, but now he's got to do it. He's committed to the line. He can... All right, it looks like he's concerned most with the Splatter Thug here. And he's going to use Aerial Maneuver. Let's see if he gets punished for it. There it is, Fatal Fumes. 2 for 1 intact, take 3 damage, and I've still got 2 lethal creatures now. And that Maze Rusher by itself isn't going to do anything. He does, remember, though, still have the Azorius Key Rune hiding back there. I don't think he has green mana to pump this Frilled Oculus, so we're going to see 2 chump blocks, but things looking more... that's not lethal, but more than awful here.
Yeah, I mean, it puts Andrew to 1. And
yes.
Kills his Key Rune and his Oculus.
Right, so this is just an awful position. Double block. What kind of things can he see here?
Supreme Verdict.
Verdict is the answer. Hoop. That's not a Supreme Verdict, and scoops up the permanents as Rich Hoen looks like he's equalized. We see that Andrew's up a game. Let's see if we can make sure that is the Eugene, you got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I also believe that Eugene Harvey is actually up a game on Zhejian Chao.
That's what we think. We saw that. We believe that they were just 2 pairs of hands, so it can be hard for us to tell. We don't have our normal player cam set up either. That way we were able to use our cameras to cover all 3 of the matches. That's how we're able to just bounce around through the different matches. If you look at the feature match area, all 3 players are lined up, sitting across from each other on either team. So they're right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder, battling. And they can help each other out with decisions as well. We've seen a little bit of that going on. I think we can switch over to the B table here if we want, Rusty. I heard one of them. It's hard to say who's saying it because we just got one mic down there, but he says, "Oh yeah, I just got crushed on camera." it can affect people sometimes. All right, Renegade Crisis on the Jai-Chain Chow's side of the board. He is down a game to Eugene Harvey, who's got. Oh man, this is your card. This is kind of like.
It's been very good every time we watched it.
Yeah. Every single time. Armored Wolf Rider again is
There's
a 4/6.
just so little that deals with it. Like it fights almost every creature in the block.
Yes. Doesn't even die to explosive impact. All right, what do we have here? A Morgue Burst getting back. Was that a Lasher?
Yes, Skylasher.
Okay, yep,
Skylasher, great card.
Yeah, sweet card. Though I got to say it's a little bit awkward here because it happened to be in the bin, but it would have been great against the Vassal Soul if he was able to get it back and kill something else. Unfortunately, again, the Wolf Rider, 6 toughness. Not going to happen.
Ooh, and the Rumbling Rhino.
Rubbleback. A Rubbleback Rumbling Rhino. That's a nice addition to the board there. And Jai-Chain Chow passes the turn back. We know that he's got that Skylasher. That does not evolve the Renegade Crisis, unfortunately for him.
The Skylasher does have flash, so you can come in, but Eugene's not playing blue, so it's not as good as it can be. There are a lot of decks where you flash in a Skylasher and almost win the game on the spot.
You'll also be able to pick up your 6 packs per player. So once again, if you would like to drop.
Have you flashed in and just eaten a Vassal Soul yet? Other stuff?
I haven't yet.
It's very fun.
And I've drafted that card like 3 or 4 times, and I have still yet to get anybody with it.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man.
I mean,
I've only had it
fun.
twice, and I got people with it like every match.
It's like, you must have been taking all of my gets with it.
I think I got a Flux Charger with it once.
Jeez. It's good to be Jacob Van Loonen. All right, so no attacks from Eugene Harvey. Here comes the Skylasher flashed in. Somebody pointed at the key rune there. He does have the mana to cycle it if he wants. Draw a card off that key rune. And here it goes. Draw. And he hit it perfectly from us. And he just says go. He's got 4 mana up. Red, green, and black combinations here.
Ooh, so here's why Eugene didn't attack.
That's right. He's got the Grove of the Guardian here, and boom, 8/8 Elemental with Vigilance. This thing is going to make short work of this board state if it isn't dealt with almost immediately. We thought the Armored Wolf Rider was tough to deal with. How about an 8/8?
It's pretty brutal. A nice Risen Sanctuary.
Yeah.
To populate.
Yes. Yes, to populate. And off of a land. That didn't cost 7. I mean, it was close, but. All right, here comes the 2 big guys. Eugene Harvey not offering any trades with Rubbleback Rhino.
Yeah, Rubbleback Rhino can, just sit back.
He can wait his turn.
Yeah, right now he provides pretty much ultimate defense. There's no sort of removal spell that can be used to get him because he has hexproof.
Again, that is booster draft number 74.
All right.
Your event is ready.
So is there a follow-up play here for Eugene Harvey? Does he need to make a follow-up play?
I don't know if he needs one, but if he has one, it's really bad for his opponent. If he has any sort of populate card, he probably wants to play in now. He knows his opponent doesn't have a removal spell that can kill the 8/8 because...
Would have done it.
Definitely would have done it before it hit him for 8 and put him down to 2.
Yeah, but if he waits, he lets him untap, have a draw step potentially.
Yeah, you never know when somebody draws, Grizzly Spectacle or what have you.
What is it that he played? Is that a Vizkopa Confessor? Or is it a Purge the Profane?
I think it's a Purge the Profane.
Okay, well, he's going to whittle away at his resources right now.
Hey, look, Eugene Harvey's on the draw, and he's sideboarding his Purge the Profane.
Hey!
He's a fellow player from the same area. He's a former North Jersey player.
Really?
Yeah. Multiple-time Pro Tour top 8 competitor, Eugene Harvey.
Look at this. That's funny. It's a regional thing.
It's a thing.
The following player, Matthew Corvasi.
Hey, man, John Finkel's from North Jersey. We know what we're doing.
I wonder if he brings in Mind Rot.
I'm sure he does sometimes.
Yeah.
He probably only does it when it's right.
That's a safe assumption. All right, they're deciding what to do here. The action can get a little bit delayed in the team environment here as they are able to ask opponents for advice. Hey, look at that. There's a nice shot.
That is a really good shot.
That's a great shot. So you get a look at exactly what it looks like to see these guys sitting across from each other. Eugene Harvey in the middle there.
Yep.
Rich Hoen on the end, and there's Andrew Cuneo.
Closest
Down
to
at
us.
the end, you can match him up on the top to see who it is that they're playing against.
So Eugene
Whang
Whang.
closest to us. Jai Chin Chow's in the middle with the glasses there. And right behind him is Andrew Brown. You see a very stern and concentrated looking Andrew Cuneo in the front.
Oh, okay.
This is a great shot to get a feel for how it goes. As you can see, the players interacting with each other. And I don't mean across the table, I mean neighbors. Eugene
and Richie.
Some advice.
Yeah, having a little bit of a council meeting over there. Cuneo's in the tank for his own match.
I think that Richard Hoen just played Punish the Enemy as I saw him point at something on the table and then his opponent. Usually you take three, that thing takes threes.
2 spots remaining. Our next 2-eyed draft. Still signing up booster drafts. In fact, there's 3 spots remaining.
Okay, so it looks like Eugene.
Standard winner box.
It looks like Eugene Harvey was successful in winning his match 2-0 against Jai Chin Tao.
And Commander Pods.
And so that's going to set his team in a nice position as both of his teammates have one win. If they can get one more game win between the two of them, they will have won this match and they'll be in good shape going into the last draft here today. Sitting at 11-2, if they can just get a 2-0 there, they'd be in prime position and basically guaranteed to make the top 4.
Ooh,
interesting
Cyclops.
that Eugene, Jai Chen, and Andrew actually have a loss to give here in a way. I mean, they certainly don't want to, but they are still at X1.
It looks like last round they bested Harvey, Hoen, and Cuneo. They must have.
Uh-huh.
Here with an opportunity for revenge. And a great opportunity to watch one of the greatest limited minds ever. Hard at work. All right, so Andrew, only 1 mana open. Not many tricks available to him.
He's sitting at 5 life, but Rich Hoen is at 6. His precarious position is
Fortress Cyclops.
Yeah, 2-1, and then the Fortress Cyclops as well, which blocks very big.
And it attacks for 6. So
Players in the Grand Prix Detroit warm-up event. Pairings for round 3 are being posted. Again, that is players in the Grand Prix Detroit.
Okay, here's a Millennial Gargoyle, and it looks like Rich has decided just to pass the turn back here. Doesn't have a way to get in for lethal damage or to force blocks in a favorable manner. Now, what about the Splatter Thug there? Can't attack into the Cyclops, right? So he just leaves it back for hopefully an attack at a later time.
yeah, I mean it's just going to become a 3/6 the Cyclops, and then what are you going to do? You know,
Yeah.
you're just.
So he's just forced to sit on it. It's one of those awkward times where Splatter Thug isn't attacking or blocking.
Yeah, he might have been able to sneak in some damage if he swung all out, but you know, attacking with everything when you're not going to kill your opponent, they have a Cyclops is way too dangerous.
Mm-hmm. So Rich has the option here of blocking with the. He can block with the Key Rune, he can block with the First Blade, or he can block with the
Players in the
Millennial
VIP
Gargoyle.
draft.
I mean, I think he just blocks with First Blade and Key Rune.
Okay.
Because, I mean,
it's not getting any better, right?
yeah, once you get that Fortress Cyclops off the table, there's a pretty good chance you're going to win the game. You have to block it. You might as well not be chumping.
Yeah. Well, the question is, if he chumps, can he turn around and just win this game the next turn?
We don't know what's in his hands, and
right. So
maybe
that's what he's probably going through the motions on here. Also, potential outs here, but I think the standard play here would be to try to get that Cyclops off the table. All right, activate the Key Rune. Chump block.
Interesting.
Okay. Ooh, but here's a 5-drop in a Steeple Rock here for Andrew Brown. Let's see what Rich Hoen can come up with. If he has some way to steal that Steeple Rock, he can win the game right here. An act of treason.
We know he likes to play cards like that. I'm not sure if he has any in his deck this time around, but a threat effect would be good enough here. Even a removal spell, not the worst here. Splatter Thug getting sent to the red zone.
This is an interesting one here. Andrew's got to decide if he wants to block. He doesn't want to start throwing away his creatures, but at the same time, he's one burn spell or trick away from just being dead. Now, he knows a lot more about Richard's hand than we do. He's been playing this entire game against him, and he should have a good feel for, you know, if he had a trick, would he have used it earlier, that kind of thing. Does it matter if he has a trick here? These are all things that he needs to try to figure out.
So just a chump block. Doesn't want to trade for that Steeple Rock. And again, going to have to chump this Cyclops.
Oh, it looks like this one's actually over here. This one's in the books. Andrew Cuneo and Eugene Harvey have won their games 2-0, and they have gotten revenge on this Hong Tuao Brown team here. Now, there's still potential tiebreaker points or something at stake, so it looks like they're going to finish off the match.
Yeah.
All right, draw a card. But this one is in the books. Is that a First Blade?
Looks like it. Trying to decide how he can attack. Nothing looks great for him.
Another must-block Cyclops here, and there goes another creature thrown away. And there's a post-combat First Blade, the most lonely, miserable First Blade you can cast. Gets pumped and then just sits there. He's screaming, "Put me in, coach," and he doesn't get to come in there. All right, so Spawn of Rixmati is also unleashed, so we can expect attacks from both it and the Splatter Thug. And here they come in. Trade and chump. And another sad creature. It's post-combat.
Yeah. So many things that you would
Shred Freak.
not expect to see post-combat. Making appearances here.
And now Andrew Brown's forced to pass the turn back.
And I think if Eugene just attacks with everything, then
So he chump blocks here? Because that thing's a 6/4, right?
yep.
Yeah, that thing dies. I think he thought it was going to live, but it doesn't. Here's a Snare Squad, and it looks like Rich Hoen is going to be able to find the win, and he does. Even then, it was a 3-0 sweep. You were mentioning that they